Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to Paddle Forward, the podcast where we navigate through life's currents. Today's episode is actually a really deeply personal one. I think I've been doing a lot of those, but it is truly inspired by a book that I actually got today as a Christmas present. And it really stopped me in my tracks the moment that I saw its title. And it is Good Moms Have Scary Thoughts by Karen Kleiman. And if you've never seen it, it's actually a really cute book. It's intensely detailed. I've never actually had to have the opportunity of looking inside of it, but oh man, it's already just touched my heart in so many like amazing ways. And if you've ever had the thought that's so unsettling that it kind of makes you question really everything about yourself, about your baby, about motherhood, then guess what? You're not alone. And I know because I've been there too, which is really what made me want to record this episode. And when I first found out that I was pregnant, I remember feeling like this feeling of almost like it was like this gut feeling of something almost like dread, like my life was about to change in ways that I honestly wasn't ready for. And it was a lot of mix of emotions. Like part of me was joyful. I had a lot of massive fear. I had guilt, and it really stayed with me through pregnancy, postpartum, and it even still kind of haunts me today. So in this episode, I really wanted to talk about those scary thoughts. I wanted to share my own experiences, and I also wanted to offer some hope and support if you're navigating them too, because a lot of what I am doing, especially in my in my Empower Her Mama collective, is really transpired from what I've been through personally and what I don't want other people to kind of suffer through silently. And so I want to talk about these scary thoughts. And, they're intrusive. Usually they're uninvited. They're ideas that just pop into our mind. And they can be anything from, like, what if I drop my baby? Or am I even cut out for this? Motherhood sucks. Like, this is not what I expected it to be. This is awful. It can even be like, who is this tiny little human? This disconnect of kind of not feeling this magical bond that people expect when they have a baby. And so for me, it really was that. Like, I would literally just stare at my son and think, that's my kid. Like, if you didn't tell me and, I'd be like, "Okay, like, that's my kid." Like, there was no this magical sense of, like, motherhood connection, like, "Yes, this is my baby," and I felt awful. I felt like I had failed. I was like, "Oh, that's it. I do not have any type of mother gene. This was a complete mistake. I shouldn't have pushed so hard to try to get pregnant." And I was horrified at myself, at the thoughts that I was having. I would just literally just stare at my son and like was in awe that I even created it. And it was like, I don't know what to do. I don't have this like magical connection. What is wrong with me? And so Karen Kleinman really explains this very well in the book that I just talked to you guys about. And it's really these thoughts don't mean that you're a bad mom. It is really something that is not wrong with you. And it's just really how your brain is processing all of the fear, which is a natural response to the massive changes that you are going through that motherhood brings, and that a true part of like this journey of matrescence that I am going to really be talking about here in 2025. And so you might be asking, why do these thoughts really start to happen? Um, for me, the hardest part of becoming a mom was this identity shift. Because I was older. I was 40 when I got pregnant. The year that my son was born, I was turning 41, and I really felt this kind of pressure that because I was an older mom, I should already know like what to do, how to take care of my son, like, you're a mom. And it really was this, like, just this handoff, like, this massive support and preparation for the birth. And then once birth happened, it was like, "Here you go. Have a good a good time, like, good luck." And I was like, "No, you cannot trust me. I don't know what I'm doing." And, and it came from the fact that I was a nurse. I'm medically trained. I even spent time in OBGYN, and I was completely unprepared. I thought I would be because I was a nurse, because I was a prenatal yoga instructor, because I had babysat, for years and years. And it was like, nope, I had no idea what I was doing. I was completely like scared to be alone with my son. And I had a different experience from my birth. We were in the hospital for a week, both of us. And so there was a lot of postnatal anxiety and some trauma, like, from the birthing experience that really played a huge role in the way I transitioned from a postpartum. But I felt super lonely. I felt like everybody just kind of hands off experience, and it wasn't what I was expecting. Um, and before, it was this huge grind after years and years of grinding in my career, and I was gaining so much momentum, and then just suddenly everything felt like that was it. Like, you're a mom and you have to give up on everything else. Like, everything else is just like, sucks that it happened at the same time, but like this pressure of like, you have to be happy. This is what you asked for. This is what you wanted. You can't have like sad emotions about the fact that everything else is going to change, that you might not be able to teach, stand up paddleboarding, that you might not be able to teach yoga anymore, and all these things. And so I didn't know then, but it is actually part of something that's called matrescence. And it's really a term that describes the process of becoming a mother. And it's exactly like adolescence, but for moms. Like, your body changes, your hormones go wild, your brain literally starts to reshape and rewire itself to care for your baby. And of course, those scary thoughts come up, and there's just a response to the fear and, this uncertainty and this immense responsibility that we feel. And the thing is that they don't define you. They don't mean that you're failing when you have them. And that's super important, because for me, I'm one of those people that when something is not going my way, or I just feel uncertain, or I don't know, I start to do research. My husband calls me a nerd because like I'll just like go massively deep into stuff. And so when I started to have those feelings, I just assumed something was wrong with me from a medical perspective. Maybe I was having depression. And I just wanted to like figure out what was wrong with me so that I could go to the right person to like get fixed. And I started to do all my research. I'm medically trained. I know how to do a lot of that stuff. And it ended up finding that I wasn't alone, that there were very common feelings that I was experiencing both prenatally and postpartum. And it really helped me from my postpartum perspective, because I already knew some of the stuff I was experiencing prenatally: prenatal blues, prenatal anxiety, prenatal, like, you know, just thoughts of all this identity shift, because I was coming in again 40. I had been working really hard on my career, and I started to finally feel this shift. And then it was just like, here's this totally new identity. And what do I do? Can I make them both work? And it was exciting and scary, and I didn't really expect so much anxiety, especially because I was over 35. I was labeled as a geriatric pregnancy. I was looked at like, how dare you even like consider allowing yourself to get pregnant at 40? I had two heart conditions, and they just looked at all the numbers and didn't really look at me. And it really was like, even just thinking about it, just whoo, it drives my blood pressure up, because I had to be such a massive advocate for myself and really get my medical professional team, who I really had no choice in because I'm a military spouse and I had only one place that I could go to get prenatal care and to give birth, is to like, I need you to look up off the chart. I need you to look off the paper and look at me as a person and ask me, like, do you even know that I'm medically trained? Do you even know that I've had my blood pressure, like, since I was 25, problems, and that I have had it, like, it's been great for the, like, 6 months before I even started to really try to get pregnant. Like, I know my body. I know when it's like when don't even need to take up my blood pressure manually. I know, I can feel it. I'm in tune with my body. Not only that, yes, my BMI says that I'm obese, which is insane, but I can basically run circles around you. Like, I'm a stand-up paddleboard instructor. I'm a yoga instructor. I teach 5 days a week. Like, no offense, but if just because you're taller than me and your BMI is lower does not mean that you're healthier than me, and it was just driving me crazy. And so, there was just a lot of emotions, a lot of guilt during my pregnancy, and I was constantly worried that I was, you know, going to miss out on a lot, but that I wasn't going to be supported in the decision that I had made, because I really was like, I really planned this out really well. And I understand that there's some risks, but there's risks with everything. And I just felt like, oh man, just because this one age bracket was like this complete difference in how I was treated, how I was talked to. And it really sometimes kind of took away from that feeling of just being able to enjoy the pregnancy. And the one thing that really shifted my perspective was diving into kind of those researches and finding out that what I was feeling was actually very common, and that I know that I was not alone, and it made such a huge difference. And that's why I'm super passionate about teaching prenatal yoga. I'm teaching baby and me yoga, and now I'm teaching toddler and me yoga, because it's not just about the physical benefits, but it's really about giving moms this space to connect with themselves, to connect with their babies, and to really process all of these feelings in a supportive, non-judgmental way or environment, because yoga really does help. Postpartum yoga, I do a lot of somatic work where we go into yoga poses to kind of help relieve a lot of the pressure of the unspoken scary thoughts and stresses and stuff that we put on ourselves. And one of the chapters that I was reading in the book was exactly what I felt, this feeling of like, you know, if I feel like, I'm not happy about being a mom right now, that this actually sucks a lot. Does that mean that I don't love my baby? And it's like, we think that just because we have these thoughts that it automatically means something bad about us, something that's wrong about us. And for me, I really struggled with the fact that I didn't have this instantaneous, beautiful bond with my son. And part of me was like, things got messed up because I had an emergency C-section and he had to go to the NICU and we were separated. And so we didn't have this opportunity to bond. And that may have played a role in it, but I really was using any excuse. And I was like, what if I just don't have the mom gene? Like, I thought it was a thing. I was like, it skipped me. I don't have it. God definitely made a mistake letting me get pregnant. Like, it was really, I was very, very mean to myself. Let's just put it that way. And I was already a prenatal yoga instructor when I got pregnant. I actually graduated my prenatal yoga instructor's training when the day I found out I was pregnant, funny enough. Um, and I just took what I knew postpartum and it helped me just to kind of stretch and stay active. It helped me with my stress, just anxiety postpartum, to kind of hone it in. And I used what I knew and my skills and my training to really help me bond with my baby. And, Kleiman's book says that relationship that we're looking for, that bond that we just expect to be natural, instinctive, and just like instant, is actually not that common for people to have instantaneously. For most moms, it needs to be built and it takes time. And so some of the simple things that even she suggests in her book is skin to skin contact, skin to skin, playtime, looking into your baby's eyes during feedings, singing, talking to them, humming, smiling. and, song and play. And those are all things that I bring to my baby and me yoga classes because I know that those are things that truly do help. Like usually he was born in the summer and it's hot, like y'all hot and humid out here in Oki in the summertime. And so I would just do my yoga practices in, shorts and a sports bra, and that was it. Like, so whenever he was with me, it would be that skin to skin. When I'm breastfeeding, it was always skin to skin. Because I just could not be bothered with a bra for real. So, I've come to see that these things really do work, and not just for my personal journey, but also in my yoga classes too. And again, it's the lifesaver. It saved me from being able to actually enjoy. I had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pregnancy. And I really feel like I owe it a lot to my yoga practice. And it really helped me bond and deal with a lot of the stuff that was coming up for me postpartum. And it's a very grounding, it's mindfulness, which I'm highly, highly big advocate for, because mindfulness practices was actually what helped me get my blood pressure under control so that I could get pregnant. And all of these spiraling thoughts. And you don't necessarily have to be pregnant. Like the beautiful thing that matrescence also helps with is these feelings can happen even if you don't like give birth to an actual other human. Like it could be an adoption, it could be becoming a step parent. It even happens when you adopt animals, when like if you're one of people like me, the crazy like plant lady, you even develop this connection with your plant. So it's like heartbreaking and people don't understand. They look at you like you're crazy when your plant dies or it like starts to get sick or it's wilty because you forgot to like water and you feel like an awful person. They're like, it's a plant. And I was like, don't talk to him. Like you don't understand. It's my baby. And that's what it is. Like any type of caretaking role brings on these spiraling thoughts. And the one thing that you can truly try right now is just this diaphragmic breathing, those deep breaths. And I teach them. It's called box breathing, where you inhale to the count of, we usually start to the count of 3, just kind of like take 1, 2, 3, inhale, and then exhale, 1, 2, 3, and then inhale, 1, 2, 3, and then you build up. You go to the count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go all the way up until you get to the number 6. And then you start to box back down. You go back down to 5 and then to 4 and then to 3. And then you let your breath come back to normal. And it is such a simple tool, but it is super, super effective. And it can make like the most huge difference in the world. And so if you're struggling with scary thoughts, this is what I want you to remind yourself every time that they come up. They are super common and you're not alone. Like that right there was like life-saving for me. It's okay to ask for help, whether it's talking to a friend, joining a support group, or seeing a therapist. Everybody's different. I had a lot of past trauma from like childhood and stuff that I never really dealt with, and I like just kind of let fester um until I became like true adult. And it wasn't until like my mid 30s that I really dealt with it. And I tried a lot of things, but yoga therapy was what worked for me. It was this non-communal, mainly silent kind of thing where, they used pressure points and stuff during a yoga session, which I was comfortable in. And it worked. It worked amazingly well. Sometimes you don't want to talk to a friend because they know you. And for some reason, we fear judgment. Like that's why I started teaching toddler and me yoga, because I felt myself isolating my son and me at home because I had this fear of like, I cannot go outside with this tiny human who's not controllable, non-consolable, What will I do if he has a emotional breakdown in public? Like, it would take me sometimes like, in the very beginning when I had no idea what I was doing and I didn't know how to, like, help him, like, I don't like calling them tantrums, like, his breakdowns would be, like, an hour and 45 minutes. It was awful because I didn't know what to do. It was causing anxiety and reactions from me, and I started to, like, learn how to really mindful parent him in the sense of, like, helping him learn what he needed to self-regulate. And I started researching more into, like, toddler in me yoga because I knew baby in me yoga wasn't going to work anymore for him. And how do I teach him these adult things that took me, like, 40 years to learn to a 2-year-old? Like, I just was like, "Dumb, there's no way," but there's actually a lot of ways. I started to implement them, and we're down to, like, less than 10 minutes for most of his breakdowns. Huge, like, the longest one is, like, 15 minutes, and a lot of it is just him telling me, "No, mama, no," and he'll walk away because he needs space. He needs to go into his room, and he'll cry, and we're, "Mama, where are you?" And I'll go and he's like, "No, mama, no." And I'm like, it's one of those. It was like, "I love you, but I don't right now. I love you, but I don't. Like, stay right here, but don't talk to me. Don't, don't." And that's what is really hard. Like, I want to like, you want me to give you a hug? No. You want me to give you a snack? No. You want me to like hold you? No. And then when he does get hold, you want me, he's like, he's trying to wiggle to get down, and I'm like, "You wanna get down?" "No." It was just like, "Oh my gosh, can you please make up your mind?" And I know that he's just not in a state where he can make any logical sense of anything, and he just does like, "I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm out of my body right now." And it's really was hard. But I was like, I can't go out and like, who do I talk to? Like, is this something that everybody else is going through? Like, I don't, people don't want to be judged, especially by their closest people. But I got to a point where I was like, I don't care. Like, I can't stay at home. And you know what? I know I'm not alone in this. And I know that all these Instagram parents with toddlers and mindful parenting and looking like they have the most like perfect, beautiful, clean house with the most like, well behaved children. That shit is just Instagram, and Akani. And you're not going to be able to really experience and know that what you're going through is not, is not, not, it's not that it is common. Sorry, maybe that's the better way to say it. Until you go out there and lead from the front, like show people it is okay. And it's gonna suck, and it might you're gonna struggle, but you'll figure it out. And so, like, that's why I still continue to teach with my son in my toddler and me yoga class, which, by the way, is an incredibly hard thing. It's a lot of pressure. I'm completely exhausted after that class because I'm playing the role of the instructor while also being the mom of a toddler and trying to like somewhat control the other toddlers, and it is massively energy like stripping for me, but I do it because I want to make sure that other moms see me even if it's in the struggle so that I can show them they are not alone and maybe hopefully teach them because it took me a really long time. Oh, y'all, I gotta go. So be gentle with yourself. You're navigating literally one of the biggest transitions of your life, and it is okay to truly take it one step at a time. I want to leave you with this. Being a mom doesn't mean that you stop being you. It means that you are growing, you are evolving, you are becoming a better version of yourself, and you're learning how to take care of yourself and your baby in a completely new way. I want to thank you for joining me today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another mom who really might need this reminder or just to learn about this. And if you're ready to explore some yoga as a tool for healing and connection, please check out my Instagram at Anna Walters. I'm actually at Anna Walters on all my socials for my Bump Baby and Beyond stuff. I'd love to support you on your journey. If you're local here in Okinawa, please feel free. At the time of this recording, I'm still here and I'm offering baby and me, toddler and me yoga um, every week, except for like on holidays and stuff. And I have a 12-day baby and me, toddler and me yoga challenge that I'm going to be relaunching. We finished our live session of it and it was fantastic. And so there's going to be a lot of other resources that I'm going to be putting out there. So please follow me so that you are the first to know. And until next time, please take care of yourself and remember that you are doing the best that you can. And that, my love, is truly enough. Inhale the peace and exhale the chaos and just keep paddling forward. I got to go teach. And yeah, I love you.